Welcome students to yet another class with Dr. Garima. Today we will discuss a very important topic, that is Barrett's esophagus. Now you must have studied the definition. What is Barrett's esophagus? It is the metaplastic transformation of squamous to the columnar epithelium. Now when you read about the lining of esophagus, you know it is lined by stratified squamous epithelium, and when there is a metaplasia. Do you remember the basics? The chapter cell injury and adaptations. What is metaplasia? It is the transformation of one cell type to another by the reprogramming of the stem cells. So there is a metaplasia. There is a transformation from the squamous to the columnar epithelium. Can I say it is columnar lined esophagus, right? Now this can be divided on the basis of the segment involved, either less than 3 centimeter or more than 3 centimeter. If it is less than 3 centimeter, it is called short segment, whereas if it is more than 3 centimeter, it is long segment. Now if I ask you where the risk of dysplasia will be higher, definitely it will be involved with longer segment of columnar lined esophagus. Now moving on to the next, yes, it is a complication of chronic GERD, and as the cases of GERD, that is gastroesophageal reflux disease, is increasing these days due to the lifestyle and the eating habits, there is an increased incidence of Barrett's esophagus, and thus increased incidence of Barrett's esophagus associated malignancy, that is adenocarcinoma. So if I ask you, Barrett's esophagus predisposes to which malignancy? It will be adenocarcinoma esophagus. Number 2, chronic GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, when there is a reflux of the gastric contents back into the esophagus. Yes, there is a metaplasia. The esophagus squamous lining will transform itself to the columnar lining, and it increases the risk of adenocarcinoma esophagus. So two things you have to remember: complication of chronic GERD increasing these days, and it is the transformation from the squamous to the columnar line, right? It can be less than 3 centimeter called short segment, and more than 3 centimeter called long segment, which will have a higher risk of associated dysplasia and the higher risk of associated adenocarcinoma in the later stages. Next. So this is the endoscopy of a patient suffering from Barrett's esophagus. Number A, yes, A will be normal esophagus endoscopy. Do you see it is normal esophagus on endoscopy? My handwriting is quite bad here, right? Whereas this is the Barrett's esophagus. Do you remember? Red velvety. Isn't this red velvety mucosa on endoscopic? Yes, red velvety mucosa on endoscopy will point towards the incidence of Barrett's esophagus. So on histopathology, you take a biopsy, maybe while doing endoscopy, you take an endoscopic biopsy, sent to a histopathological lab for the histopathological examination. This is HNE stain, you all recognize HNE stain, esophageal biopsy, right? So you receive a esophageal biopsy and you look under the microscope. What do you see? This is, yes, this is squamous epithelium, whereas these are the glands. These are the glands with the presence of which cells? Very important, with the presence of goblet cells. You cannot forget this term, right? The presence of intestinal metaplasia. Why do I say intestinal metaplasia? Why can't they be gastric glands, right? This is stratified squamous epithelium of esophagus, and these are the intestinal metaplastic glands. Why do I say this is intestinal metaplasia? Because they have the presence of goblet cells. What are goblet cells and how do they are they recognized? Yes, they are recognized as the presence of this distinct mucus vacuole, which is completely, almost completely covering up the cell here, right? Almost displacing the nuclei to the periphery. So these are the goblet cells characterized by the presence of mucus vacuole. And if I have to use a special stain in order to confirm that yes, this is the mucus vacuole of goblet cell and this is the intestinal metaplasia, which stain will I use? A special stain, Alcyon blue. Easy to remember, mnemonic: A for Alcyon blue, A for acidic mucin, A for Alcyon blue and A for acidic mucin. That means the mucin has a pH of 2.5. So this is acidic mucin number 1. A for acidic, A for Alcian blue. What is the special stain used to be used here? Alcian blue. Number 2, because the name itself has blue in it, that means it will stain the mucous vacuoles as blue. So this is HNE stain showing the intestinal metaplasia characterized by the presence of goblet cells with a distinct mucous vacuole. And if I have to use a special stain in order to confirm that these are the goblet cells, I use a stain called Alcian blue. A for Alcian blue, A for acidic mucin, pH 2.5, and the name has Alcian blue. Alcian blue, that means it will stain these mucous vacuoles as a beautiful blue colored vacuoles. So this is the special stain which can confirm the presence of the distinct mucous vacuole of goblet cell, and I can say that yes, this is intestinal metaplasia. Now students, Barrett's esophagus does increase the risk of dysplasia and the associated adenocarcinoma esophagus. Rest we will discuss in this class, where we will focus more on the points important for a postgraduate student of pathology. Till now, these are the important points which we discussed, that these are the least you can remember in association with Barrett's esophagus, and these are the important questions which are often asked in your NEET entrance and various exams at the MBBS level. In my next class, that will be solely for the postgraduate students, we will discuss about the dysplastic transformation and various risk factors associated with malignancy in Barrett's esophagus. So these are very important points. I hope you understand and you remember all these important points with the help of various mnemonics. So students, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel so that we can share such wonderful videos and I can make pathology easy and fun for you. Thank you.